guys, we're here for our second Fishhound Bassmaster Elite Series field test. We picked 3 baits at every event. We're at Guntersville, Alabama, so we picked the Excalibur XR50. It's a 1-knocker. We picked the Lucky Strike RCTX jerkbait, and we picked the Strike King Shadowlicious swim bait. All right, let's talk about the Excalibur XR50 first. I've thrown it a lot over the years, so I was pretty familiar with this when you put it in my hands this week. Excellent, excellent bait. You know, there's a lot of grass at Guntersville. Performed really, really well in the spring when that grass is just first coming up and it's just 2 or 3 inches, you know, maybe a foot off the bottom. You can kind of roll this thing down through the grass, rip it out of that bass and get a lot of strikes. Caught some on it in practice this week, but again, very similar to what happened to the Sabine River here at Guntersville. They were kind of going to the bed, so the rattle trap bite was going away. So just remember that, you know, fish it early, February, March. When the fish start to move the bed, they're going to move off the rattle trap. So it was a good bait, but the fish seem to be going away from it this time of year. They'll come back to this in the fall when they start chasing shad in the back of the pockets again. But for right now, you know, it's really good grass lakes, especially. I always throw it on braid. I throw it on braid when I'm ripping it out of grass. We'll go through the rod and reel setup at the end. Our next bait was the Lucky Strike RCTX. Excellent, excellent jerkbait. I really enjoyed it. I hadn't thrown it before this week, to be honest. And so, you know, I put it through its paces. It's got a weight transfer system. Ow, that hurts. Sharp hooks. It's got a weight transfer system so you can throw it really far. That knock you can hear in it, that's really not for rattle, it's more for casting. When that weight transfers from one end to the other end, it'll line up on its tail and it'll go for miles. So excellent, excellent bait for casting. Suspends really well out of the box. You know, a lot of times we'll trick out baits. You know, we'll put a little suspend strip or something on it to get it to suspend. Really didn't have to with this bait. Suspended extremely well, got it down in the strike zone, caught some fish on it. Actually, there was quite a few fish in the tournament caught on a jerkbait around riprap and bridge pilings. Excellent, excellent when the fish are suspended, whether they're coming in to spawn and they're kind of setting up on those places before they come to spawn or on their way out. So remember this bait anytime you're in that April-May period when they're headed to the bed, coming back from the bed. Excellent, excellent bait. Like I said, worked really well, had a real good erratic action, could almost spin it around on a cast. Worked really well. All right, guys, our third bait, and the one that worked the best, we always save the best for last, was the Strike King Shadowlicious. Really, really a versatile bait. This is about a 7-inch. It's a hollow belly swim bait. So there's 2 different kinds, hard body and hollow belly. For a hollow belly swim bait, this thing has a great action. The tail gives a lot of vibration as it comes through the water. It's got pretty good roll. You know, anytime I'm throwing a hollow belly swim bait, I want a little bit of a rock on it. You know, not just swimming, you know, but I want a little bit of a rock. And it does a really good job of that. Puts a lot of vibration in the water. This was really key on those transition fishes, you know, going through. Guntersville is known for its bridge fish, you know, and riprap fish. Threw it a lot around riprap this week, caught a lot of fish on it. I've rigged it several different ways. This way is on a screw lock. You know, you just kind of wind it up on the hook and then you spin it and it goes up on a screw lock real good. It sets just like that. Another way is in a, I'll show you how to rig it real quick, is you actually thread the head through it since it's hollow belly, and then you can kind of poke your eye out on the top. And what that does is it sets it up, and that'll actually get a lot more rock in it. When you put the head inside of a hollow belly, it'll rock a lot more. And so that'll sometimes bring a different strike, you know, especially if you're on a lake where a lot of guys are throwing them. You need something different to kind of trigger a strike. Something else really unique about this Shadowlicious, and I don't know that they've done it on purpose or not, but a lot of times if I want a little more action, it's actually got a coating on it. And you can see I'll peel off the coating. When you peel this coating off, the bait becomes much more pliable and it'll roll over a lot more. Now it looks like a shad that's been eaten a lot, but that's all right. That's what we want. They're going to chase the one that's dying. So when you peel that coating off, you know, that kind of gives it a lot more vibration, a lot more flexibility, gives it a little more action. Again, just a little trick we use every once in a while to try to get another bite. As always, guys, on Fishhound.com and the Elite Series field tests, we bring you one rod and reel setup for one of the applications we use this week, the XR50 Excalibur. One of the great things about that is in the grass, we were ripping it through grass that was about a foot tall. The rod and reel combo was perfect for that. We had a 7.3 moderate action rod with a 7.3-to-1 Concept E, 13 fishing reel. Braided line is key. 40-pound braid. I could rip it through that thing. The rod, the moderate action, had plenty of strength, but it had a good parabolic bend. I could rip it through that grass. When they'd eat it, I'd had enough bend to go ahead and play the fish to the boat. So that was our rod and reel setup for this week. All right, guys, that was our 3 baits for the elite field test on Fishhound this week. We're at Guntersville, Alabama. All 3 baits performed really well. They did their duties. The Shadowlicious was the winner this week just because of how the fish set up. But we're going to the California Delta, and that place I've never been to. I've never been out west fishing. I cannot wait to see what you guys put in my hand out there. So looking forward to next, I guess it's about 2 weeks away. Looking forward to it on Fishhound.com.